Good morning. Welcome back, Facebook friends and family. It is October 21st. It's later in the morning, but I got up this morning. It was down around 40 degrees here. It was very, very cool, which is normal for the 21st of October. Just imagine we've only got 10 more days left in the month of October. Time is really flying. What I'm going to talk to you guys about today is the progress here on the homestead. For those that follow me, you know I bought this home on March the 30th of this year, 2023. And of course, the property itself, it was an older house, still is an older house. But we went in and did some major renovations. We tore out some fixtures in the bathroom. Well, actually, we tore all the fixtures out of the bathrooms. We tore everything out of the kitchen. We rebuilt those. We tore down some walls. So it's complete now on the inside, and actually on the outside, it's pretty well complete except for the landscaping in the front. And we will be doing some type of fireplace out on the patio so that we can sit out there, have a warm cup of hot chocolate, and watch the fire. I love sitting out there anyways, just looking at the stars. When I lived in town, I could not see the stars. There was too many security lights everywhere. When you looked up at the sky, it was so bright, you really didn't see that many of the stars, just some of the brighter ones. Here, I can look up and I can actually see and I'm going to call it clouds. I'm not sure the correct term, but you can actually see the Milky Way, all the dust or clouds or whatever in it, and the stars are just absolutely phenomenal. Well, I'm going to break some beans, and I hope that you've got a cup of coffee. We're going to have a little chat here. What I want to talk about is the progress that we're making. The garden is pretty well done. This is some green beans that I didn't expect to get because it's been so cold at night, but actually they've still been producing. I will say that I'm fortunate that they produced it all, because even though I bought the house in March, I did not get here until later in the year. It was July the 17th when I moved in. Now, I did start the garden sooner than that, but I didn't get it all started. And then once I got here, it's difficult to try to do any gardening because I was so busy unpacking and trying to get the house situated so that I could find things, which I still don't have. I move things constantly because I'm trying to find what works best. Like, take this sunroom, dining room combination here. When I designed this, I never thought about how big this room is and how awkward it was going to be to get my furniture where I wanted it. I would definitely wanted a TV in here because I do like watching, not necessarily normal TV, but I love to watch other homesteaders on YouTube. So that's a big thing I do of a morning, is have some coffee while I'm waiting for some of the heavy dew to get off of the yard. And I watch my YouTube people I follow. I don't know about you guys, but there's certain people that I want to see every video they put out. I just find that they become like family. And that's why when I come on of a morning, I always say, welcome back, YouTube friends and family, because you eventually get to feel like you know the people and they become almost like family. You know who their children are, what they're doing, you know what type of crops they're raising, what type of animals they're raising. For me coming out here, it was quite different from anywhere I'd ever lived. So, and I have my chickens, which I'll show those to you here later. I'm really impressed with them. I think the ones that tickle me the most are the two Brahma chicks that I bought. I didn't know what Brahmas were, but they've got little beards, which I thought was kind of funny for a little chicken, especially a female egg layer. And I know that variety is also considered dual purpose. It gets rather large and it can be raised as meat chickens. But they have the cutest little beards, and I call those two my bearded ladies. Yes, the two white ones that you see there, they're a little hard to follow, but those are my two Americanas. The gray one there beside the Americana and the ISA brown, that is the little gray Brahma. And right there is my little bearded lady right in the middle there, and she is my brown Brahma. The two reddish brown ones are both ISA browns, and I thought at first that meant ISA or ISA, but ISA stands for a French poultry organization. All right, that's my little ladies. And of course, that's their coop. I do have a small mulch bin in there so that they can get in. And if you see, I've actually put some feed in there. And because they're young, I'm not sure they realize they can fly. Well, that little female brown Brahma there, she realizes she can fly. And I have seen the others in there. The fact that they're eating sunflower seeds, oh, that's really going to make the others want to get into it too. Now, puppy, Daddy's not doing anything that you need to bother here. She thinks she's a lap puppy, and she's going to start trying to get up in my lap. And I can't do that while I'm breaking green beans. And I see Lily Mae over there at the window. She's wanting in as well. She can see that I'm in here doing something in the sunroom instead of just sitting watching TV. But this past week was a really, really busy week here on the homestead. I'm going to put on the screen now and show you. I had talked to some people right after we bought the house. Probably would have went back to maybe May. I'm quite sure I would have contacted them by May, because my homestead property here, which is just 2 acres, but that's all an old man like me really needs, it has a well on it. And I knew, just like this October, it got very, very dry in October. And it's difficult to try to water a garden from city water. And I didn't want to do that. So I called these guys, and they have been so busy. And you might say, well, why would they be busy? It's because a lot of people, I think, are going back to homesteading. People want to become more self-reliant, and they want to have their own water source on their property. But they did come, they got the well cleaned out. They spent hours out there. I have this video that you're watching right now speeded up just to show you a little of it. It would be rather, I think, boring just to sit and watch it. I recorded 55 minutes and they were here probably longer than 2 hours. But the well is now finished. All it has to have is the 220 electricity run out and hooked into the pump itself. Now, that's going to be done. It's going to get started on Monday. But the little electrician that's working for me, that is doing the work, I mentioned to him when he came back out, because we decided we wanted to put a little bit of electricity down to the greenhouse as well, so we could run some fans if we needed to. And I mentioned that the way the house has been set up when they did the remodel, and I just turned that over to my son and daughter-in-law. There wasn't any outside lights put up, but let's be honest, I knew that I would be watching the stars at night, because that's just one of my favorite things. And I didn't want to have lights out there that would interfere. I thought about putting some of those little LED lights like I had on my deck at the other house, where the batteries charge solar and then it runs all night. It comes on at dusk and then runs during the night. And I thought, no, I don't want that. So I asked the electrician, I said, while you're here doing this other work, what would you think about going ahead and setting me up a light out here on the corner? I said, I want it to shine down the sidewalk, because there is a sidewalk from the driveway that comes to what I would refer to as the back door here, to the sunroom, dining room combination. And I said, I want it on the wall in the garage where when I have company, I can turn it on before they come, and then I can turn it off when they leave, because I don't want that light on all the time. So he said, sure. Well, instead of doing that Monday, he's just been super. He knew, because I told him that I'd be having the card players this weekend. He's going to show up later today and go ahead and put those lights on the corner of the garage. It'll have two lights on it, one shining out on the drive and then one shining back down towards the sunroom entrance. And to be honest with you, most of my family come to the sunroom entrance, the back door. We're just, I don't know, we're family. I don't see sending family to the front door. My goodness, it's quite a walk from the drive to the front door on the house. So this just works better. But that's what we're doing. Now, once he gets everything ready, now he won't hook the wires to the pump. He's just going to run them out there and put them in a box. The reason being, I'm going to have a well house built. Mark, the handyman, the guy that's done all the work for me, he's been working on projects for me for several years. He's going to go ahead and build me a well house, and I want it to be 8 foot by 10 foot. Now, that's a lot bigger than you need for a well house, but I want it to have no floor other than that concrete patio that the pump is sitting on now, and I want gravel on the ground simply because I want to have moisture coming up in there, because I want to be able to store some winter produce. I'll keep that well house during the winter, probably in the 40s or 50s. I don't want to keep it too hot, but I want it to be a cold room during the winter that I can store my potatoes, my carrots, my turnips, sweet potatoes, things like that once they're cured. Now, I've got to check on the sweet potatoes. I've never raised a lot of sweet potatoes, so I'm not sure if that's going to work. But that is my intentions of what I want to do. And the next project is putting a fence around my orchard. Not only do I want the fence around the orchard, I want the fence around my most of my backyard, but not all of it. But that's so that I don't have to walk that puppy. Now, she is a hound. So being a beagle, I can't just turn her loose. There's too many rabbits around here, and she gets on their trail. Twice she has nearly knocked me down getting out the door before I realized she was out, and she'd be gone for a couple hours before she would come back. I just worry about her getting, after a rabbit and running out in front of a car, because trust me, she is single-minded. If she is after a rabbit, she's not going to think anything about following it across that road. So I want it to where it'll be a little bit safer for her. And she's not going to stay outside full time. I've always had an indoor pet since back when Terry and I first got married. Now, I'll be honest, I wasn't used to having animals in the house. My mother thought it was awful. But it depends on the cleanliness of the person. If you're cleaning, I see no problem with having a pet inside. And believe me, since my wife's passed away, my pets are my company. I am old enough. I have no intention of remarrying at this point in my life, because most of my life is over. And for those that follow me, you know that I have a heart issue already. I have what's known as complete heart block. My brain no longer sends a signal to the right side of my heart. That stopped back in about 2018, and I ended up having to have my first pacemaker put in. Yeah, I was too active in the garden, and I actually ended up tearing the wire, or they told me that it was not installed, it was defective, because I didn't pull the plastic wire or the plastic coating on the wires, but the wire itself came loose from the lead. So yeah, I've got two pieces of, I say metal, only one of them's metal, because with the new one they put in, I would have been able to have an MRI had I ever needed it. But with that piece of metal on the first one, because Back then they didn't offer the different option. I wouldn't be able to sit and go through a MRI because it'd pull a hole in my heart. The magnetic field on the MRI could very well pull that thing loose and yank it through my heart. So I've been warned, do not, and they keep repeating that, do not ever have an MRI. So, but I digress. If anybody knows me, they know that I just ramble. I love to talk to people, though. That's just me. But we're going to put that fence in the back. I also want a fence on the garden, and I will be building a deer moat around the garden. And I'm not quite sure how I'm going to fix that around the orchard. I should have put the orchard a little closer towards the house because the way I've got it, I've not got enough room from where the fence is going to be on the property line to actually be able to come in 5 foot and put one up without it being right on top of those little apple, pear, and plum and cherry trees. So, but I'll get that worked out. There'll be some way to fix it so I can keep the deer off. And I'm truly glad that I did put something up there originally, because the little cherry trees, twice the deer has absolutely pushed the chicken wire cage that's around them over on the ground. Fortunately, it didn't break the cherry tree, and it's a Bing cherry. It'll be a sweet cherry. I know I was able to raise them in Tansy when I lived in the Lake Tansy community in the house before I moved here. But that is my intention, is to put a fence around that and try to prevent them. And I intend this spring to go get a bunch of blueberry plants and plant them in between these apple trees. And I knew that I would have to protect that fruit, and I didn't want these to be great big trees. Gosh, it's just stuff that I'll be raising for me, and I'll be sharing some of it with the family. So I did not see me putting full-size trees. So these are, some of them are semi-dwarf and some of them are dwarf, but they have done very well. I've tried to keep everything watered this summer because we have had periods for 2 or 3 weeks we wouldn't have much rain at all. And if you've got young trees set out, it's very important to keep them wet, even if you're having to water. I used my 5-gallon drip buckets, which is just 5-gallon buckets with one single small hole drilled in the bottom. And I can set that hole up next to the base of the tree and fill that 5-gallon bucket up, which I did that with a water hose. And I was using city water at that time because that's all I had. But I'd fill those buckets up and then I'd let that 5-gallon slowly drip out and keep them wet. And I've been pleased. The apple trees have done phenomenal. Of course, as you can see behind me here, and I will flip back, that's actually the fall color here. So a lot of the trees have already started losing their leaves. And boy, I tell you what, I get to talking and I threw that handful of broken beans over into the bowl with the strings. All right, now, do I have projects that I want to do for my homestead other than getting my well house, my fence set up? Yeah, I really have some other animals that I'm going to want to try to raise. I really think that I want to raise some quail. I know they don't get big, but the thing of it is they mature a lot faster than chickens do. And I just think it'd be fun. You know, I'll try it. If I don't like it, I'll harvest them. And as a lot of the YouTubers say, homesteaders, I'll send them to freezer camp and then we'll do something else. You know, you never worry about stuff like that. You always want to just try things. See how it works. It might work out and it might not. If it doesn't, you never fret about things that don't work out. You just move on and you do something else. Life is too short to go around worrying about everything. All right, I think this is going to be it for my little video today. I appreciate you guys. If there's anything you guys would like to see, leave comments below. And of course, remember, I have the Facebook page. And if you're ever on my channel page, which you can find by going to YouTube and searching at TN for Tennessee, TN Mountain Garden, and it'll take you right to it. And there you'll find the links to the Facebook page. I am surprised the Facebook page has grown rather rapidly. There's over 4,000 subscribers on that page now, and it just keeps growing by leaps and bounds. So there's a lot of people out there wanting to homestead, and I can certainly understand why. And that's just, for me, raising my own food, and as I eventually get to where I can raise some meat myself, I want to be more self-sufficient. And let's be honest. The first thing I do when I go to the store is I pick up a can, if I'm going to buy a can something, and I look at the ingredients, and I'm just absolutely appalled at how much junk is in there that doesn't go in food when we raise our own vegetables and can it. And you know, that stuff has to over time affect our systems. I mean, they may say it doesn't, and I've heard it said that the FDA looks at it and the value of the nutrition, and they just try to make sure that people are not getting something that's going to hurt them, that's cancer causing. But you know, it's still, anything to me is too much if I don't have to have it in there as a preservative. All right, it's been wonderful talking to you guys. Be sure and leave me comments below. Let me know what questions you might have, or things that you might want to hear about. Now, for those of you that don't know, this is Saturday night, and I get together with my family every Saturday night, and we travel from house to house. It is my week for everyone to come to my house, and I'm going to fix a chili relleno recipe, and I'm going to kick it up just a little bit, and I like adding extra stuff. Anybody that knows me know that. But Angie told me about one of her friends, and Angie is my wife's first cousin that was more like a sister than a cousin. One of her friends went somewhere to a really nice restaurant, and they served chili relleno stuffed with shrimp. So I thought, I need to try that. So I went ahead, and when I was making my casserole, and you make 2 layers with the cheeses and the chilies and the eggs and all of that, in between those 2, I just cut up some raw shrimp, and it turned out great. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you later.